Welcome to You Can't Make This Shit Up. This is David Washington, Joel Hoxley. Our company is Jay in Washington. We're here at the beautiful Oxford Sports Pub and Secret Society. Got to get out here if you haven't tried the food. It's phenomenal. We have such a great opportunity here. So, what am I missing? Am I missing anything, David?
I think you got it covered. Have we introduced Angelina?
I no.
Okay.
I'm getting look. That's what it's all about, right? See, I didn't even know she was here.
Oh my God, we're not used to having guests, huh?
And I was just like talking to her a minute ago, and I forgot she was here. Angelina, go ahead. Tell everybody who you are so they know if they haven't watched the episode that we put
Which
out.
you need to.
ASAP.
Yes.
So if you haven't watched the first episode, my name is Angelina. I am actually an intern over at Jay in Washington, and I am currently the quotes president at UCF.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Welcome.
So talking about school,
There we go.
Hey, we're talking about UCF. Now let's get a little bit younger. I think we should go to
Grace
Winding. I think we should go to Winding Waters K through 8.
Uh-oh.
And meet a specific teacher that's in the news.
Jenna Barbie.
Say it again.
Jenna Barbie.
Yeah, Jenna Barbie. And you can't make this shit up. She decides that she's going to play a movie, Disney movie, by the way. I want to make sure that Disney understands it was a Disney movie.
Hashtag Disney.
Now, hashtag Disney. So it's called Strange World. And I'm like, a Disney movie that I haven't seen? I was amazed. One of our interns said, I saw it. It's about climate change. And I'm going, I didn't see it, so I don't know what's in it. But I guess it had some controversy, David. What were we looking at?
So the controversy is this. One of the Hernando County school board members, Ms. Rodriguez, her first name will come back to me, Shannon Rodriguez, filed a complaint with the Department of Education that Ms. Barbie showed inappropriate content to her 5th grade class. And the content was in the movie Strange World, about climate change and its effect on our planet, or not necessarily our planet, but the world in that movie, and about relationships. And for about 2 minutes, it talks about or delves into the sexuality of the main character, if I remember correctly, who is gay. They talk about it. 2 minutes, that's it.
David, didn't they break the law? I mean, literally, didn't the law get signed on this?
Well, this was before.
Okay, this is before the law.
Before the law.
I'm scared for a minute.
Right.
That scared me for just a moment.
Before DeSantis's, don't say gay law.
The parental, the parental rights bill, please.
There you
David,
go.
you guys can use that angry wording, but it was just the parents' bill of rights.
Yeah, and every time you mention that, I forget and I should know his name, because but that's a side
Different
issue.
topic.
It'll come to me. It's off the topic. But the school board member's daughter is in Miss Barbie's classroom, and she complained to her mother. Her mother investigated on her part a little bit and made a formal complaint. And what Miss Barbie is saying is that, hey, I got prior approval to show PG-rated movies in my classroom when school started. It may not have been this specific movie. However, parents did sign it seems like a blanket approval permission
Well, I think
for
they
PG
do.
movies.
I think they do
movies
for all of them. I remember signing forms that say, they're going to have this type of content in the class. I want to make sure that if they take a photograph, your child is allowed to be in it, or else we blur that picture out. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking that was.
Right. Frank Lutz is his name.
Oh yeah, Frank Letts.
Yes, the wordsmith mastermind of the conservatives, Frank Lutz. I think he would be proud of.
Oh, I think he would. No,
Don't
listen,
say gay.
I
you
think he
know.
would.
I think he would be very proud. So there you go, Frank Lutz.
It's one of those. It's one of those things that makes my hair
Yes.
stand up. So.
So the Florida Department of Education is investigating, and they have found initially that there is ground to proceed with an investigation. Miss Barbie, Jenna Barbie, had shown the Buzz Lightyear movie earlier in the year, and one student did say that they object to watching it. That student's not in their classroom for one reason or another. However, this particular situation finds Miss Barbie under investigation and also in the news.
So, what do you think about this?
So the biggest thing that comes to mind whenever I was in my mass comp law class is this theory of the chiller effect, right? Which basically means that people, whenever someone gets punished for doing things that's super unclear, like this is pretty unclear, it creates this chiller effect where now everyone is scared to do it. So now if this woman were to get in trouble, my concern is, so now what? Are teachers not allowed to show any movies? Are we going to have to do parental permission slips for even PG movies? That's just my main concern. But also another one is I feel like movie ratings or the movie, like the G ratings and all that, I feel like it's not accurate anymore.
No, they're subjective.
It's completely inaccurate. I was watching the Guardians of the Galaxy this weekend, right?
Okay.
And it's a PG-13 movie.
Volume 3, the latest one.
Volume 3.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. The very latest one. And there was actually an F-bomb in that movie.
Actually, you're allowed one F-bomb
Yes.
in a PG-13 film.
It's
And
still
it-
that's
and
it's very subjective. If
and
you
the
really-
MPAA, and traditionally the MPAA, who monitors the ratings of films, is typically
they're very
conservative.
relaxed. But listen, they're very relaxed nowadays. I've watched movies that I think definitely should be R, and I'm like, okay.
times have changed.
Well, see, that's the thing. Times change, but still, naked is naked.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, I can't watch certain shows at my home that I really want to watch.
Wait. That's different from
I'm just saying I can't watch.
motion pictures
No, I'm just saying
in the
this-
theaters.
But they're the same thing. They're the theater
No,
movies.
no. You're talking about two different rating systems.
I'm saying these are new. I can watch new stuff. Like I can watch almost brand new stuff. I mean, how long does it take from the moment it gets on the screen to being streamed nowadays? Less than a month on some of these movies.
Sure.
And I got Disney Plus. Okay, well that's going to be. I'll have Volume 3 in my home
Right.
very soon. Once it's out of theaters, it'll come into my home. Now, I'm going to go off the rating it had at the box office. So you're saying, so it's a PG-13. I can watch it with certain children in my home. But if I'm against, I'm not.
Then you don't
Listen,
watch it.
Listen, I'm not.
You don't watch it.
But I'm not going to know it's there. So, see, that's the thing. I don't know it's there. The warning doesn't help me know it's there.
Okay, all right. So the rating that you will receive for that particular film, even though it'll show up on Disney Plus, they'll still have another rating because it's on
But Disney,
your TV
because it's
screen,
on Disney Plus,
which
they're going to tell me what
what's
content is in it.
Right.
That's the difference at home.
Right.
I don't have that when I go to the box office.
I think they
No, you don't.
talk about, mild language like nudity. I believe that's in that little box
I'm gonna
of
check
the
it out.
rating.
gonna
I
check
think
it
it's there. But
But-
you are allowed to have one
Yeah, I know.
F-bomb in a PG-13 film. You are allowed. And again, there are some things you don't take young children to. There are certain things that you don't expose your young children to. There are things that I expose my sons to at a young age because of the historical or cultural value that it has. would I let my 12-year-old see this particular movie? Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's no big deal.
I'd let a 9-year-old watch.
Right.
I'd let a 9-year-old watch the Galaxy, the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't that poor, but again, you and I talk about this all the time, David. I am a big First Amendment guy. And I have no problem. If parents want to bring their children to something, that's fine. But I have the law on our side now that is saying she couldn't do this now. Because she would have had to know that was in there, and the new the Bill of Rights gives the parent the right to refuse to have that in the class, and the bill does it for them. That's all the bill does. It says you're not going to have your kids exposed.
It's when we start legislating at that level that is a concern to me. Growing up, when I was in grade school, there was a movie called Bugsy Malone, and Scott Baio was in it. Yeah, that's Scott Baio, the conservative, right now.
You mean the new Florida resident?
Yeah, new Florida.
Just left California.
Chachi, Happy Days.
To tie that in.
and so he was in it, and it was about a younger version of the Chicago gangsters, and it was simulated violence with Tommy guns and things like that. But instead of shooting bullets, it was shooting cream pies and things like that. And it was kind of cute, kind of cool, kind of funny. But I believe that was PG. Now at that time, I'm dating myself. It wasn't PG-13. PG-13 wasn't.
You didn't have PG-13
then at that time.
You had G, you had PG,
however,
and you had.
However, I mean, it did not. I mean, it did have suggestive content for the heterosexual relationships there.
David.
However, comparing that to this, what I do know about Strange World, it's just like why do we have to legislate at that level? What is happening at the school level, at the school board, at the very local level? It seems like we're preempting local decisions at the county level, at the municipal level.
David, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. And I'm going to say, like, you can't watch a kid's movie today without specific adult comment. So, I mean, there's a part of the movie they're trying to, put in front of the audience. There's a show that got a lot of controversy. I think it's called Red or something like that. Turning Red. And it is, if you're a guy.
What's that about?
If you're a guy, you're going to find out a whole lot about, having a period and stuff that I was like,
well, where's that available?
You can check that
I believe
on
it's on Disney Plus.
Really?
Disney Plus.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
Turning Red.
They turn into pandas. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
But they do tackle the subject of menstruation.
Which, in my opinion, when watched with an adult or with someone reasonable, I think it's a good idea because growing up, I didn't have sisters. It wasn't talked about. I didn't understand about, the menstrual cycle until I started having, relationships with women and getting to know women.
Yeah, all I'm trying to say is there's a lot of like the humor behind stuff that we start to laugh and the kids didn't. Because I'm in a theater and I go, that was funny. Yeah, right. But the kids didn't get it. It went, woo.
Right. I'm concerned that there is going to be content that is banned despite its historical significance or cultural significance that our young people need to know.
Yeah, but again,
whether it's Maya Angelou's, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, for instance, that book is banned. I believe that book is very informative, a good resource for young people, and and that's another thing.
But what
these
age?
bans are limiting the complete American or world experience. You know what I'm saying? We're limiting other voices and other experiences.
You know me. I think the the Moms for Liberty is, and I'm going to get in trouble big time for this, but I think they're book burners, period. Like what they're trying to do is they're trying to just get everything out of the schools that has any content that could be controversial. You know what? I believe in the Bible. I read the Bible, and it doesn't say it doesn't say get rid of all this stuff. Don't have any secular stuff. It teaches me to live here and spiritually.
Isn't the Bible banned in some school districts?
I'm just waiting for the Quran. I mean, we had that controversy in Seminole County where the Quran, they do 2 years, they learn about the Bible, then they learn a little bit about the Quran and stuff like that. But all she wanted them to do is put, the teacher said, so the teacher goes, hey, I want you to go home and I want you to make a prayer rug that represents you and who you are. Well, for me, I have no problem with my child doing that. But parents got all upset. They went in, they took and blew it way out of proportion. Listen, I love the fact that we have Muslim friends that we can relate to, and we know when their holidays are. I like that. I don't want to be restricted. So again, David, this is a place I feel very uncomfortable with my own party with some of the things they do. And I'll have to hear it tonight when I go to the meeting.
I think we're going down I know we're going down the slippery slope. And whether it's at the first grade level or now up to your senior year in high school, and with the recent legislation signed by Governor DeSantis limiting diversity, equity, and inclusion instruction or content at the college university level, I'm concerned.
See,
I'm
David,
very concerned.
I'm going to just slightly defend. I'm a free speech person, 100%. I'll never change that. But what I'm going to address here is a lot of that content has gotten very, very one-sided. There's not a equal ground. And
exclusionary.
I think
exclusionary.
Condoleezza Rice says it best when she says, "I don't want white children. I don't want black children to grow up feeling that they're being, deprived, and I don't want white children to go to school and think that they should be guilty that they did this." So she's basically saying there is a middle ground. She lived in segregated Alabama. So when you talk about Condi Rice, she's a wonderful human being. She got the piano. She's been our Secretary of State. She's basically saying the problem with that material nowadays is it is all saying, instead of saying, hey, we had slavery, it was horrible, this is what happened, it's white people had you enslaved. But that's not true. There were black slave owners, right? We have to be fair to everybody.
But the vast majority were white. You got to make that clear.
Like 99%. I'm not going to say that one person, that had a black person that had slaves. Look, I wrote a poem the other day, about the presidents, and I was trying to, say something witty about each one. The first thing I can say is, Thomas Jefferson, right? All people are created equal. Yet he had slaves. He wasn't thinking of them, right? So again, I'll back off, but I'm saying I think the content that's being attacked is the way it's being presented.
So fear of others. Angelina?
Oh, yes. just to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying, that's something that I don't really like about our education system nowadays, because I feel like there's no room for debate, because I'm fine with both sides being taught, and I think that's exactly what needs to happen. But I want it to be where the children are actually thinking for themselves, because I think that they need to learn, okay, what about this side? What about that side? What strengths do they have to their arguments? What weaknesses are there? I think that most, like, what they're trying to teach us now is, this is how you need to think. And I think that it ends up dumbing us down. Our generation is pretty stupid. Let's just put it out there. They're pretty stupid, and it's because of our education system.
Yeah.
And it's gotten to be to the point of where, I remember writing essays in like my first few years of college, and as long as I said, "Oh yeah, black people are oppressed," like 49 different times, I got an A on it. And it got to be so exhausting, because I'm like, I don't want to say things repeatedly because that's what you want to hear. And that's what I have an issue
But I
with.
think that
I agree with that.
When you get to college-
Because sometimes if you're just playing to the feelings of the teacher or to that particular community, it doesn't do anyone well when you do that. And I believe that I think that not having those honest conversations about cause and effect, responsibility, and solutions to moving forward from slavery, from misogyny, from issues that hold us as Americans behind. If we're not working, if we're always arguing or talking about the problem, and I see this on the left as well as the right, if we're always talking about the problem and not solutions, or trying to come together and have an honest conversation about solutions, then we're stuck in just playing to the fears and feelings
I went to
of
school.
others.
I went to school during the day. Like, I didn't do night school. I actually physically went to school during the day at UCF. I was in the ad PR program. I really enjoyed it. But I found the majority of the classes were trying to break them of what you're talking about. It's like, hey, this is the first time. Hey, you should be thinking on your own.
Yes.
And you're hearing this over and over again from these professors. I understand, because when you have black history, and the only black history you want to talk about is Martin Luther King Jr.
Oh, Lord.
Like it freaks me out.
Yeah.
My kids come back and they go, hey, it's black history. I have to write a report.
MLK.
Who are you going to do about it?
MLK.
MLK. Look at, I said, what about Frederick Douglass? He's like my favorite, the writings that he had. He doesn't even know when he was born. Like
Booker T. Washington.
Malcolm
X.
I mean, there's
Thurgood
some.
Marshall.
Do you know there was a wealthy black woman.
W.E.B. Du Bois. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, go back and I'm not going to give you the name, but go back and you're going to find out there was a wealthy black woman that is very prominent in history. Way back in the day before we had the NC, oh God, never mind.
NC double.
Now, see, I just lost it, dude. It's crazy. But
NAACP.
do you find that is the case in most of your classes, that they're trying to teach you to think on your own for the first time?
For the most part, I must say, like, that's one thing that I do like about the program is that, oh yeah, you can actually think for yourself. I actually recently did, I think this was actually last semester. It was investigative journalism, pretty much. And it was pretty much where you're the one that's telling, hey, are these companies actually doing what they're supposed to be doing? You know, whenever they're like, oh yeah, we're green, we're clean, we're pro LGBT, all this stuff. Is it true? And that's something that, like, I really do respect, because one thing that I hate about my field is this constant, oh yeah, we're for you, but yet their actions don't back it up.
Mm. Yes.
Well, you're also you're also in a field that most people think that you're just manipulators. I mean,
Oh yeah, we are. I'm just
look,
absolutely.
we'll talk when we get on with these different programs that you'll be on. You're going to understand, like, lobbyists are not bad people. There are good
Right.
lobbyists.
Yes.
I mean, I pay every single year for 2 lobbyists. I pay for for the Legion and the VFW. Now, I pay those dues because I like to be part of those organizations. But when you really look at the organization, they are lobbying on my behalf to bring up issues that need to be addressed for veterans. And I'm sure a lot of you will look out there and think of the organizations you're in, and why are you paying that money? What are you getting in return? You're getting a lobbyist who's fighting for you. The more people, I can't tell you how young I was before ARP tried to get me aboard. Like, that's an old person thing, but no, I was getting it at 50. David's a big thought.
Yeah, well, I mean, lobbyists are an industry, and I mean, we're not officially lobbyists. I mean, we've been approached to be lobbyists, and there's a purpose for what they do. Unfortunately, they do have a great deal of influence over our legislation, and particularly in this past legislative session, which we'll do a deep dive in future broadcasts. With this particular school board member, and all school board members and our elected officials, there are lobbyists. They're the people that we have elected to represent us. And elections have consequences, whether it's in Hernando County or Orange County or Seminole County or whatever, or Duval County. People who do vote are making the difference. And unfortunately for Jenna Barbie, she was working in the best intentions, showing the film Strange World that she thought was instructional for her students.
What's she really doing?
But there was
She had
there
an
was
agenda.
pushback, and I don't think she had an agenda.
Yeah, she had an agenda.
Well,
she
did
wanted
have
to do.
agenda to
She
talk
wanted to
about
talk
the-
about global warming.
Exactly.
And let me tell you something.
Because it was part of the studies that her class were involved in earlier. So it was related to the actual work that they were doing.
I'm not saying it, but
So
I'm saying
that
there's an agenda.
That was part of the agenda.
There's an agenda, and
Yeah.
it's now built into the
Not-
school.
But not malicious.
It's built into the school. Al Gore made sure that this happened,
Oh,
right?
stop.
Yeah, I used to, when we were growing up,
You guys want
no, when we were
Man,
growing
bear,
up,
pig.
to
Listen,
use
I'm gonna
every
say,
resource in the
when
the
we were
world
growing up,
and-
what was it called
and
first?
leave nothing.
It's called the greenhouse effect.
Right.
Now, everybody said we have to
Come
tackle the greenhouse
on.
effect. And I'm like, if you tackle the
Come
greenhouse
on.
effect, you're going to destroy our entire planet. Because you have to have the greenhouse effect.
You guys want to pave over everything here in Florida.
So then you changed it to, so then you changed the term because we realized
The fact remains is that
when you get taught
Florida
about
is
the
sinking
greenhouse
into
effect, you realize you
the
need
Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean.
David, I'm just
hotter,
picking.
hotter.
I'm just picking it to make it a longer segment. But this lady, this young lady is teaching young children, impressionable children, and if she knew she had a school board member's child in her class, she should have taken a little bit of precaution, because when that person gets elected, they have an agenda. So understand what that school board's agenda is, because that child's being taught that.
Well,
I'm sorry, David. That
No,
she
no, no.
she
No.
she
and she should
messed
stay
up.
off of TikTok too. Limit her
She-
comments on TikTok. Please. We have
Hey,
a
if you watch-
podcast for specific reasons, because it's our business. It's what we do. We're experts in what we do. However, just because you have an opinion doesn't necessarily have to go on TikTok.
David, I got to say this. So if you want to learn, go to my 5th week of my morning constitution, and you'll learn about self-incrimination. That TikTok video is very bad for her.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So, David, I appreciate our guest. I appreciate this subject. I think that we could go on for a long time with this subject.
Oh, yes, and we had a special guest, the young lady server who was mopping. That was definitely a UK make this shit up
Well, we
moment.
might not have it. We might not have it on.
And I don't know if she was in the frame there, but she was close. And
All I know is she saw some floor and she wanted to make sure
wanted
she
to
got
make
it
sure it was clean.
So,
She was a little bit.
well, I appreciate you bringing this topic up, David. This one, I don't know if I've really gotten across what I want to get across, because I was joking about the agenda. This is you've got to know your class. You've got to know what you're teaching.
Nowadays,
And
yes.
nowadays, you got to be very particular because there are a lot of people that are offended just because you have a big nose or you have little ears. And I mean, you laugh, okay? That's what you're doing right now. But it's serious. There are people that are freaked out.
Yeah.
I feel like, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I feel like with this, we have to bring about possible solutions. And to me, this is the parents' responsibility. So, I mean, I'm a Christian woman. I wouldn't want my child seeing anything about LGBT and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's out there. If my child even knows about the internet or knows people, they're
Right.
going to hear about it. So I believe in having those conversations with their children. You know, your child seeing 2 minutes of an LGBT or a gay couple shouldn't be the first exposure that they have to it.
Agreed.
You should be having those conversations with them. And you can't blame the school board for exposing it if you haven't even talked to your child about
That's a
it.
good point. The world has
Especially
changed.
since these kids were in 5th grade, correct?
Yes.
They're at that point where they're already starting to feel certain things. So you have to talk to them about these things.
Right.
I talk to my granddaughter every time I talk to my granddaughter. We've talked about
Yeah.
the conversations that I've had with my granddaughter. She opens my eyes to huge stuff. The girlfriend thing was one of the funny ones, but I love the fact that she feels comfortable, and she told her dad, I feel most comfortable talking to Papa about these subjects because he just says it. Like, look, I have no problem talking about that subject. I don't have a problem talking about your menstrual cycle, right? I keep always telling her, you're at a scary age. You're in middle school. Middle school is the worst time in anybody's life. And if you say it wasn't, you're lying. Because you're going through puberty, you're going through all these different things. 5th graders, it's a little early, but they should at least know that there are men that live with men and women that live with women.
Yeah.
And I think you're right.
That's the reality.
Parents need to be teaching. And you shouldn't be ashamed to say something. And it's got to be at least one person. Find out, make sure they have at least one person that's talking to them. I mean, it doesn't have to be mom. It doesn't have to be dad. It can be grandma, grandpa. It doesn't matter. I just want to make sure what you're saying is true, that parents are actually addressing it. The government shouldn't have to make a law to do this if you're doing your parenting correctly. So I thank you very much for bringing that up.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. The times are changing. There are some things I was very, very liberal in my youth, and I've come to moderate my views. And there are some things now that I am just like, whoa, wow, that I just saw that. Wow. I spent time with my mother this past week, and she's like, whoa.
She let you come back to Florida, I see.
She did. I think she was like, get back there. There were some things that we were watching on TV. I don't watch much TV. I was like, wow, that's on TV now.
So David,
Regular
it's
broadcast
the
television.
NAACP.
There you go.
Okay, I knew I could get it
NAACP.
eventually, but I had to think. Because most
Right.
Republicans don't get invited.
Oh, I haven't been to one of their functions.
Hey, it's funny because it's a good organization. It does good things. So again, a lobbyist that you can trust in your field. So again, we talked about this teacher. I think we've talked at. I wish I could remember the agnobs, whatever the word is.
Stay
nauseam.
off of TikTok, Miss Barbie.
Yeah.
Please, this investigation will go on. Once we get more information, we'll update our viewers and listeners. Again, you
I
can't
say
make
throw
this
it-
shit up.
I say throw her in jail and to throw away the key. No,
Yes.
just joking. Thank you very much for joining us. Tell them what they need to do.
Like, comment, share, subscribe, ring that notification bell, do it all. Follow us on Instagram.
And if you're
All
a
right,
member
all
of
right.
Quotes, that's your president talking.
Yeah, so you have to do it.